Good evening, fam. I'm back, and I want to bring y'all some updates on the Ahmaud Arbery case and some information that has come out and some video that has come out and let y'all know what's being said and all the new developments and give y'all my version of what really happened and the real reason why Ahmaud Arbery is dead. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's staying safe. Hope everybody's being smart and hope everybody's getting all of this information and all of this knowledge. I hope everybody is aware. Everybody is staying aware of your environment. Again, being safe and being smart in all the moves that you make. When you leave your home, as you're out and about moving around, when you come back, stay aware, be constantly aware of your surroundings, and be constantly prepared for whatever might jump up. Because as we can see with everything that's going on, there's a lot of stuff going on. And this so-called pandemic, well, it's not a pandemic, it is a pandemic. But it is being used as the cover for and the excuse for a lot of other nefarious stuff that's going on. So please be aware. Please pay attention to your surroundings. Put down those phones. Start having conversations again with people. Start talking again one-on-one with people. And just stay prepared. Be prepared for whatever. Because like they say, if you are prepared, you don't have to get prepared. So let's jump right into this. Now, there are a lot of new developments. And the first new development is the fact that the homeowner, the owner of this house that was under construction, that seems to be the centerpiece of this whole case for some reason. The homeowner has released CCTV, which is surveillance tapes from as far back as October of last year. And these surveillance tapes show numerous people. At this point, they show numerous people going in and out of this construction site, seeing what's going on, peeping what's going on, like people will do. If there's construction going on in a neighborhood, or if there's this construction going on around other businesses, people are going to go in, they're going to peep in, they're going to walk in, they're going to see what's going on. That's just human nature, okay? So surveillance video has come out to show that several other people were in and out of that property during this time, from October until Ahmaud Arbery was killed, February the 23rd, 2020. There are a couple of kids on their bicycles. There appears to be a couple, a man and a woman, going in looking at the property, and then there's this other gentleman that shows up on all these night videos. And this guy seems to only show up on night videos, okay? And the description of this guy does not fit Ahmaud Arbery, because the description of this guy, based on what the homeowner has said, based on a 911 call that you'll hear in a few minutes, based on some other descriptions, this guy that keeps showing up in these night videos, this guy is anywhere between 5 to 6 feet tall. He's a light-skinned black male. Both arms appear to be covered in tattoos. And his hair is either in twists or locks, about 3 or 4 inches long. Now, that's the description of this guy that keeps showing up on this night surveillance, on these nighttime videos, okay? And he does appear to be real slender. And just looking at the stills of him and just looking at the videos, when you see, he doesn't appear to be quite as thick or quite as muscular as Ahmaud, as Ahmaud was in all the different pictures that we see of him. Right? And Ahmaud is definitely a dark-skinned black man. And in most of the pictures that we see of him, he has shortcut. He has a real low short cut, and he has facial hair. He has a goatee. He has a little something over his lip. And I haven't seen a whole lot of tattoos. There's one picture where you can kind of see maybe one tattoo on one of his arms, but as you know, if you see him at night, you wouldn't be able to see these tattoos. You wouldn't be able to make out both arms being covered in tattoos. But that's a description that you'll hear soon of Ahmaud Arbery. I mean, of this guy that was in this house at night. And as I've already reported, and it's being reported now, Larry English, the property owner, the man that owns this property, he doesn't believe that the man that was in all of those nighttime videos is the same man that is seen on the daytime video, February the 23rd, just minutes before Ahmaud Arbery was killed. So even the homeowner is saying those are not the same people. That's not the same man, okay? And that's very important, all right? It's very important because I'm leading to something, so it's important.
It was good, I'm just full.
No, you just didn't want it. Give it here. Let me taste it.
I'm full. Why can't I just be full of a little bit of drink?
That's pretty good. Okay, y'all. I was just talking to my daughter for a minute. But anyway, this is going to make more sense in a few minutes as I start bringing the pieces of the puzzle together. Okay. But what I want y'all to hear right now, and of course, like always, the links to all my sources and all these articles and everything will be in the description box, so you can go back and you can listen, you can read, and you can even go take that point and go on and do your own research or whatever. But what I first want you to hear is a clip from Court TV, and in this clip you will hear the two 911 calls. You will hear you will hear one of the 911 calls from the day of the murder, which is the neighbor that's calling in, talking about this guy, you know, that's running and all of that. And then the second 911 call you'll hear comes from Travis McMichael, and it was 2 weeks before Ahmaud was murdered. It was on February the 11th, and it was a call that was made while or right after they say they saw somebody. They say they saw Ahmaud Arbery in the house, and surveillance does show this guy in the house, in the house at the construction site. But again, it's the same guy that does not fit the description of Ahmaud Arbery. So let me let you listen to these two 911 calls.
Seen that day on camera and by a neighbor who called 911. And you said someone's breaking into it right now?
No, it's all open. It's under construction. And he's running right now. There he goes right now.
Soon after being spotted at the house.
Now, that's the neighbor, the neighbor that called the day of the killing, when we have the surveillance of Ahmaud actually being in the house. And this is the 911 tape that I'm sure you've heard, where, you know, the operator is asking, okay, he's running, but did he do anything wrong? What did he do wrong? And the caller never responds. He never answers her question. Okay. Now, this is the news reporter continuing on to talk, and then she'll bring up the 911 call from Travis McMichael 2 weeks before this.
He was shot and killed just about a block away. But prior to the February 23rd shooting, there had been 4 or 5 instances of a person entering this property without authorization at night.
My cameras would notify me I would be 2 hours away.
and my cameras would notify me and let me know somebody was on the property.
Larry English, the owner of the construction site, lives elsewhere and says he was notified 2 weeks before the shooting of a person on his property. English is now sharing this video from February 11th, noting that nothing was taken from the site on this date or any other. But on the same day, a call to 911 was made.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
It's Attila Drive, 230 Attila Drive.
What's your name and phone number, sir?
Travis McMichael.
The same Travis McMichael now charged with killing Arbery.
We've had a string of burglaries. I was leaving the neighborhood, and I just caught a guy running into a house being built 2 houses down from me. When I turned around, he took off running into the house.
McMichael tells 911 he tried to confront a black male in shorts and t-shirt, but got spooked when the man reached into his pocket as though he had a weapon.
I said, a flashlight, look through the house. But we've been having a lot of burglaries and break-ins around here lately, and I had a pistol stolen January 1st, actually. You know, I've never seen this guy before in the neighborhood.
2 weeks later.
So that was Travis McMichael 2 weeks before Ahmaud Arbery was killed, was murdered, doing a 911 call saying that he's seen this guy. He caught this guy going in the house. Let me hear you. Let me let you hear what he said again.
This video from February 11th, noting that nothing was taken from the site on this date or any other. But on the same day, a call to 911 was made.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
It's Attila Drive, 230 Attila Drive.
What's your name and phone number, sir?
Travis McMichael.
The same Travis McMichael now charged with killing Arbery.
We've had a string of burglaries. I was leaving the neighborhood.
Now you hear he tells that lie. We've had a string of burglaries. Okay. And he says, I was leaving the neighborhood and I just caught a guy.
And I just caught a guy running into a house being built 2 houses down from me. When I turned around, he took off running into the house.
McMichael.
Okay. Now, when you get this video, and if it's possible, I'll put a clip up so that you can see. But even if I don't, it will be linked in the description box. And when you see this video that's attached to the video that shows this guy going in the house that night, February the 11th, when you see that video, you'll see that this guy's not running. That this guy's just walking in the house. He's just walking in and walking around like all the other incidents of this person being in the house. They're just walking around looking, not touching anything, not messing with anything, just walking around from place to place looking. And then I guess at some point they leave. But he says that he caught this guy running into the house. Right? Then he turns around and say, just listen.
Tells 911 he tried to confront a black male in shorts and t-shirt, but got spooked when the man reached into his pocket as though he had a weapon.
I said, a flashlight, look through the house. But we've been having a lot of burglaries and break-ins around here lately, and I had a pistol stolen January 1st, actually. You know, I've never seen this guy before in the neighborhood.
2 weeks later.
So again, he says, now I'm gonna read now. I'm not gonna play it. I'm gonna read what he says because you can see the words on the screen. He says, I was leaving the neighborhood and I just caught a guy running into a house being built 2 houses down from me. Okay. So he's claiming he was leaving the neighborhood. On leaving the neighborhood, he sees this guy running into this house, this construction site, this house that's being built, right? He said, when I turned around, he took off running into the house. Okay, now either you saw him running in the house at first, or he took off and ran in the house when you turned around. Because that doesn't make any sense. If you saw him running in the house, then when you turned around, he wouldn't have took off running into the house. He'd have still been running into the house. He'd have been in the house by the time you took off if when you initially saw him, that's what he was doing. He was running in the house. But again, like I said, when you see that clip of this person on this night going into this house, he's not running. He's just casually walking into the house. He's not running. He's not jogging. He's not trotting. He's not even speed walking. He's just casually walking into the house the same way everybody else that you see every other incident of anybody being in the house. They're just casually walking around. Okay. But he claims that when he first saw the guy, he was running into the house. Then he claims when I turned around, he took off running into the house. So it almost sounds like you saw somebody in the neighborhood, you turned around, and when you turned around for whatever reason, that person took off running into this house. That's what it really sounds like. Okay? Now let's read on. Then he tells this lie again. We've been having a lot of burglaries and break-ins around here lately. Now remember, all kinds of news sources requested all the records of break-ins and burglaries in this neighborhood. Some did as far back as November until May. And the only thing that was reported was, again, Travis McMichael saying that somebody broke into his truck and stole his gun. That's the only report of any kind of burglary, any kind of break-in whatsoever in this neighborhood during this period. Especially the period directly before Ahmaud Arbery was murdered on February the 23rd. But again, he's telling this lie about these burglaries and break-ins, okay? We've been having a lot of burglaries and break-ins around here lately. And I had a pistol stolen January the 1st, actually. So the only incident of any kind of burglary or break-in that was reported in this neighborhood throughout this long period of time was Travis saying that somebody had broke into his truck and stole his gun. After he claims he locked the truck, the daddy went back, Gregory McMichael went back to the truck, left it unlocked, and somebody went in and stole the pistol. Okay? And that's it. I want you to hear this again.
It's Attila Drive, 230 Attila Drive.
What's your name and phone number, sir?
Travis McMichael.
The same Travis McMichael now charged with killing Arbery.
We've had a string of burglaries. I was leaving the neighborhood, and I just caught a guy running into a house being built 2 houses down from me. When I turned around.
Okay, right there he says, I just caught a guy running in a house. Okay? Being built 2 houses down from me. Now he's going to switch it up.
He took off running into the house.
McMichael tells 911 he tried to...
So he says, when I turned around, he took off running in the house. Okay? Now, later on, it comes out that supposedly he tried to confront this guy. When he tried to confront this guy, the guy reached into his pocket or his waistband of his shorts or something, and it spooked Travis because Travis thought he might be armed, might have a weapon. So he ran off, jumped back in his truck, went home, got his daddy, Gregory McMichael, and daddy came back with him with a gun. Okay? But what you don't hear in this And what you find out later on is there was another neighbor that was actually on the property at the same time. Okay? So just hold on a minute. Now we're going to go over here to Madame Noir. And this is an article that I got out of Madame Noir. Ahmaud Arbery's killers confronted him 2 weeks before his death, neighbor says. This was published February the 14th. 2 weeks prior to the shooting death of Ahmaud Arbery, the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, Travis McMichael, who is the son, one of the 2 men arrested in Arbery's murder investigation, had an encounter with a black man at a neighboring house under construction, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reports. The page just went down, y'all. Hold on a minute. I'm getting it back up. Yeah, funny how all snap, all of a sudden the page goes down. 2 weeks prior to the shooting death, the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, Travis McMichael, one of the 2 men arrested in Arbery's murder investigation, had an encounter with a black man at a neighboring house under construction, says the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. The story paints more suspicion around the McMichaels and their possible motives in the shooting death of Arbery on February 23rd. Now get this. Diego Perez, a neighbor who was present on the night of February the 11th. Okay, this is the night that they claim they saw him in the house, and he was and somebody was actually in the house. This black guy that's described as being a male, 5 to 6 feet tall, light-skinned, arms covered in tattoos with twists or locks 3 to 4 inches long. That's who they claim they saw that night. Okay. Diego Perez, a neighbor who was present on the night of February the 11th, the day of the newly reported encounter, told the AJC that he was asked to check on the property after receiving a text from the homeowner, Larry English. Perez, who lives 2 houses down from the construction site, said he agreed to watch English's property because he lived a far distance away. Because English lived, they're saying anywhere between 90 to 200. In some reports you hear it was 90 miles away. In other reports you hear he lived at least 200 miles away. So the way it was described in another article, Diego Perez, this neighbor, actually shared a backyard with the house that was under construction. And English, the man who owned the house under construction, would text Perez and tell Perez to check out if he got any kind of notification from his surveillance system that somebody was on the property. So on this particular night, February the 11th, he got one of those alarms that somebody was there. So he asked Perez to check it out for him. Okay. And Perez agreed to do it. English said a motion sensor was triggered, which prompted him to reach out to Perez. Perez says he was armed as he walked up to the home and upon arrival was greeted by McMichael. So by the time Perez got there, after being texted by the homeowner and asked to go check things out, by the time Perez got there, McMichael was already there. He was greeted by Travis McMichael when he got there. Okay? Now, this is what Travis told Perez. Travis saw him in the yard and Travis stopped, Perez told the AGC. He confronted the man halfway into the yard. He said the man reached for his waistband and Travis got spooked and went down the road. Moments later, Travis returned with his father, Gregory, who was also armed. A 911 recording of the night of February the 11th from Travis McMichael confirms he was at the scene. On the tape, McMichael can be heard saying he caught a guy running into a house being built 2 houses down from me. When I turned around, he took off running into the house. Okay, now either he was running in the house when you first seen him, or he started running in the house after you turned around. It can't be both. Okay? That's a report from CNN. McMichael described the man as a black male who was wearing a red shirt and white jogging shorts. Perez claims the next time he saw the man was on February 23rd as Ahmaud Arbery laid on the pavement motionless. The McMichaels told authorities that they believed Arbery was involved in a string of recent break-ins in the neighborhood. However, an interview with CNN, Glenn County Police Lieutenant Sherry Batchelor said that only one automobile burglary was reported on January the 1st in the neighborhood. And we know that that was Travis McMichael. Okay, now this article doesn't give you any information about the description of the man, about Larry English saying, well, we've already talked about that in another report. How the homeowner Larry English said that the guy that he'd been seeing on the night surveillance tapes didn't look anything like Ahmaud Arbery. Okay, but I will have linked in the description box the story from Court TV where they talk about the description of the guy that they claim they saw that night, February the 11th, and the guy that had been seen in previous other video surveillance coming in and out of the property, the description of him and how the description of these two men just don't fit. Again, 5 to 6 feet tall, light-skinned, tattoos covering his arms, and his hair was either twisted or in locks, and it was about 3 to 4 inches long, okay? But what nobody says in any of these reports is, where did this guy go? Where did this guy go? Okay, you got Perez on the property. You understand what I'm saying? You got Travis on the property. They say he's walking around the house with a flashlight. All right, then you got Travis leaving and going back to his house to get his daddy. Daddy comes back armed. Okay, where did this guy go? If he was really there, you mean to tell me, and the police were called, and there was an incident report filed that night. The police did show up and they filed the incident report. So all 3 of you men couldn't hold this guy there until the police showed up. How did he get away from you? Because you claim every time you seen him, he running in the house. So when did he get out the house? When did he leave? How was he able to get past all 3 of you? And 2 of you are armed. Why didn't anybody try for a citizen's arrest on this particular night? Now that you have actually caught him on the property, you have actually caught him on the property. You got at least 2 men there that are armed. You got 3 men that are there, and the police have been called. Why didn't anybody attempt a citizen's arrest that night? And if it was Ahmaud Arbery, how did he get away? How did he leave the house without any incident? without anybody confronting him. Travis says he confronted him, and there was no conversation between them. He just walked up on him, and the guy reached into his a pocket or his waistband or whatever, and it spooked Travis, because Travis thought he might have a gun. So he runs off with his chicken shit ass. You understand what I'm saying? And goes and gets Daddy. Daddy comes back armed. But we never hear what happened after that. Because Perez goes on to say the next time he saw this person was when he saw Ahmaud Arbery laying in the middle of the road, that been shot and killed. So see, more and more, this is sounding like a setup. Now, yes, somebody was in that house that night, but I don't believe any of these people actually saw that person in the house. I believe a 911 call was made to cover some tracks and to make sure that certain things were in place when they went about to finish their plan. But I don't believe anybody actually confronted or saw whoever was in the house that night. Because if you notice, Travis on this 911 call sounds real out of breath. He sounds out of breath. Like maybe he's been running or whatever. And then you'll also see in the news report, in the court TV report, that when the police came, they did a report and they said that Travis actually sat in his truck across the street from the house watching. What was Travis watching for? Because it doesn't make any sense that whoever this person was, whether it was Ahmaud or whether it was somebody else, whoever this person was, it doesn't make any sense that, you know, people have seen you in the house. Okay, maybe they have spooked you or whatever, and you know, and then there's somebody else that's armed that's coming or whatever. It doesn't make any sense for you to keep running back into the house. That makes no sense. Because that's what Travis says. Travis says he was leaving the neighborhood and he saw this guy running into this construction site, right? Then he said, but when he turned around, the guy took off running into the house. So where was this guy really at when you first saw him? What was really going on? What was the real interaction between you and this guy when you first saw him? That he all of a sudden took off and ran into the house. Because that's what it sounds like. Because you have to remember, Perez didn't see all of this. Perez didn't actually see this interaction between Travis and this person that was in the house. Perez didn't see that. By the time Perez got there, Travis was already there. So what happened? Did Travis see this guy? And then Travis turned around. The guy got scared or got spooked or whatever and ran into the house. Okay, Travis then leaves and runs to get Daddy. And Daddy comes back with the gun. And by the time they do all of this, this guy has gone. But what Travis is saying doesn't make sense. I'm leaving the neighborhood. I see this guy running into this house. Okay, on the video, you can see the guy that night coming into the house and he's not running. Like I said, he's not running. He's not jogging. He's not trotting. He's just kind of casually walking into the house. And then he says, when he turned around, the guy took off running. Okay, so either he was running when you first seen him or he started running when you turned around. And then again, you got this police report that says that Travis parked on across the street in his truck and just sit there watching. What was Travis watching for? And if this was Ahmaud Arbery or whoever this guy was, this black guy, why was he always at the house at night? Because the only instance that we have on video of this guy who may or may not be Ahmaud, and we definitely have a video of Ahmaud in the house that Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. around just minutes before he was killed, why would this guy all of a sudden stop going at night and show up in broad daylight? Because all the other instances of him being in the house were at night. So why would he all of a sudden switch up and go in the daytime when there's never been any surveillance of him being in the house in the daytime before February 23rd, the day he was murdered? Okay? And like I said, all of this information, the news, the clips from the news and all of that will be in the description box, so you can go back and you can listen to everything that they say as far as the police report is concerned, everything that they say about this guy's description, everything that they say about Travis sitting across the street in his truck, kind of watching this house, or whatever the case may be. And like I said, Perez didn't actually see the guy. All Perez knows was that he got a text from the homeowner, Larry English, to go check the place out. He says himself, by the time he got there, McMichael, Travis, was already there. So supposedly at this time, Travis done already had this encounter or whatever where he walks up on the guy pulls, the guy reaches into his pocket or his waistband, because in the police report and what you'll hear from the news clip, they get it confused. 1 minute is pulling something out of his pocket. The next minute is pulling something out of his waistband or whatever. Okay, so were you watching this guy enough to see him in the house with his flashlight? Because he says in the 911 call that he's just walking around the house with a flashlight. So it doesn't make any sense. What it sounds to me like is, Travis was watching that house. Sounds to me like he was sitting somewhere in his truck watching that house. And he either saw whoever this guy was, whether it was Ahmaud Arbery or somebody else, he saw this person leaving. And when this person saw him, they ran back into the house. And that's when Travis left to go get Daddy. Daddy comes back with the gun. This guy leaves. When he sees Travis take off, he leaves. And by the time Perez got there, nobody was there but Travis. Okay? That's what it sounds like. That's what makes sense. And it'll make even more sense as we keep going on. Okay? Now, hold on a minute, because I want to see. I hadn't planned on doing it. I was going to try to maybe put the clip
for the first time in our country's
at the back of this video. But hold on a minute. Okay, that's one of those ads. Hold on. Let me see if I can find what I want here.
Communications operator says.
Hey, I'm about to steal a sword. Right here, out here, there's a guy in the house right now. It's a house under construction.
Okay, do you have your address or that house's address?
Right at 219 or 220 Priscilla Drive.
And you said someone's breaking into it right now?
No, it's all open. It's under construction. And he's running right now. There he goes right now.
Okay, what is he doing?
He's running down the street.
Okay.
Back to the
Okay, that's fine. I'll get them out there. I just need to know what he was doing wrong. Was he just on the premises and not supposed to be?
And he's been caught on the camera a bunch before at night. Kind of an ongoing thing out here. The man that's still in the house has got heart issues. I think he's not going to finish it. So.
Okay, that's fine. And you said it was a male in a black t-shirt?
A white t-shirt. Black guy, white t-shirt.
Now, that's the whole 911 call from the neighbor who called that day. And you notice when the 911 operator asks, okay, well, what was he doing wrong? Or was he just there and he wasn't supposed to be or whatever? They couldn't say anything. The only thing that and you could hear him talking to somebody in the background. He's talking to somebody in the background, and they tell him to say that he's been caught a bunch of times on camera at night before. Okay? And again, this will be linked in the description box so that you can go back and listen to all of this. But I think this is the one.
All right, so there really is that he believes this is some burglary reports. What did you find out?
Well, Court TV specifically requested all incident reports between November 1st, 2019 and May 5th, 2020 involving home robbery, home burglary, and thefts that occurred on the following streets: Buford Road, Holmes Road, Satilla Drive, and Zellwood Drive, to see if what we hear in that 911 call checks out. Well, of what we were given, only 2 incidents were in between that time period for those streets. And Benny, both involve 34-year-old Travis McMichael, who was just arrested last night for the felony murder of Ahmaud Arbery. Now, the first was on January 1st, 2020. This was a Glenn County PD report that we were given. It's Travis McMichael. He calls in to police around 11:05 a.m. that morning, and he calls in reference to an entering auto or theft of an auto. It's his 2011 Ford F-150, not the white one we see in the viral video now, but this is a red one. And he calls into the police that someone entered into his locked 2011 Ford F-150 and took his Smith & Wesson 9mm pistol. Now, the report goes on to the narrative. Please check it out. He says that his father, about a couple hours earlier, went into his truck, left it unlocked, and when he returned, he just finds the holster with his handgun gone. The report later goes on to say latent fingerprints yielded negative results for that incident. So that's the first incident that we were given, Benny. And then, moving forward, February 11th, 2020, we have another incident, and again, involves Travis McMichael. So if we take a look at this report, we have February 11th, this is around 7:30 at night. Travis McMichael calls 911. He calls in for trespassing on Larry English's property. That's 220 Satilla Drive. That's the property under construction referred to in the Ahmaud Arbery 911 call. Now, this is in reference to, quote, an unknown black male trespassing within the construction site of a new home being built on said property. Now, this is the important part here of this report, Benny. It's the description of the suspect responsible. It's, quote, a lighter-skinned black male, slender build, approximately 5 feet to 6 feet tall. Both arms look to be covered in tattoos. The male has 3 to 4 inch twist or dreads hairstyle. So the property owner in this police report says that there are security cameras that show the male inside this construction site, and that the male appeared to be the same unknown male in all the previous incidents caught on camera there at that property. The male was, quote, only trespassing and plundering around, as he has yet to see where anything has been taken in the security cameras. And then finally, the videos and the description of this unknown male has been circulated throughout the neighborhood. They have this neighborhood Facebook page, Vinny, where they post these security camera stills, the description of this man who's been trespassing, and it's been circulated. So all the neighbors who are a part of that Facebook page have seen this description. And again, those are the only 2 incident reports in that time period that we received before what happened to Ahmaud Arbery.
All right, Julie Grant, lighter skinned, slender, tattoos, 3 to 4 inch twisted dreads. Okay, so it's clear that Travis McMichael thinks that there's someone who's doing something at this construction site. He doesn't know who did anything to his car, but it looks like he's kind of putting those 2 things together, conflating them to a certain extent, perhaps. What do you take from that description and Ahmaud Arbery?
Well, it certainly doesn't sound like Ahmaud Arbery to me, and I'm sure you all thought the same thing when you were listening to the description. All of the photographs I've seen of him, he has short hair. It's a very short haircut, and he also has facial hair in a lot of the photos. He's also a darker-skinned man, and so this really doesn't sound like him at all. I'm unaware of any tattoos. All the photos I've seen, I don't see any tattoos on his arms, and there you go, the facial hair, the goatee. See him with that in just about all the pictures. Very short hair, no dreads in his hair. To me, that description doesn't sound anything like him. But I'll tell you what Janley's report there does sound like to me, Vinny, and that sounds to me like there was some intent here brewing and some planning perhaps going on. If I'm the prosecutor and I'm driving the train at this grand jury, when they convene and get to receive all this evidence, they need to go back just like Court TV did and pull those reports and see what was going on, because clearly this was planned. This event, if you take nothing else away from this, this was not spontaneous, that truck was parked in the middle of the road, albeit illegally too, by the way, in the middle of that road, and Ahmaud Arbery is doing nothing wrong. He's jogging. That's healthy. That's doing something right, going out and getting some exercise. But what happened certainly seemed like a trap to me, Vinny.
So I just wanted y'all to hear them talk about the description and talk about the description of this man that they claimed they saw in the house on February the 11th, that Travis claimed he had an encounter with and all of this kind of stuff. This description does not fit
the truth behind this global outbreak?
Ahmaud Arbery at all, but it's the same guy that they've seen in the house other times at night. He fits the description, but this person doesn't fit the description of Ahmaud Arbery. And again, I asked the question, why, if it was Ahmaud, why would he at first just go in the house at night? Never do in the daytime. They never have any surveillance of him being in the house in the daytime. He would only go at night. But then on this particular day, February the 23rd, the day he was murdered, he all of a sudden decides that he's going to go in broad open daylight in the middle of the afternoon. Okay? Doesn't make sense. And again, remember, you're going to also hear in one of these clips, not from me, because, my time is short, but I'm going to link it in the description box. You'll also hear the police report when the police showed up that night, February the 11th. And they're going to talk about how Travis says he was sitting across the street from this a construction site in his truck watching. And how he walked up on this guy and the guy reached into his pocket or his waistband or whatever, which spooked Travis. So Travis left and went and got daddy and came back. So again, what they don't clarify, what nobody mentions is, okay, you got Perez on the property that's armed. You got Travis on the property because Perez says when he got there, Travis was there. He didn't see this interaction between Travis and this guy. He's only telling what was told to him. He probably didn't even see the guy because the thing is, if he saw the guy, he was armed. So if when he got there, if the first person he saw was Travis, then that means him and Travis both would have been there when the guy was there. Those two together couldn't do a citizen's arrest. Those two together couldn't hold this guy in this house until the police got there. So what happened to this guy? Where did he go? Especially if this guy is not Ahmaud Arbery. And based on the description, he's not. So where did he go? Although if you ask me, and you will see the clip of the guy February the 11th walking in the house, and it looks like he has on a light colored shirt and some light colored shorts, and it looks like he has a bandana around his forehead. He looks like Ahmaud to me. He looks like the same guy to me that was on the video during the daytime, February the 23rd. He looks like the same guy. Now, the other guys that I saw don't fit that description, but this particular guy does look like Ahmaud, just with the hair and the bandana. He looks like Ahmaud, okay? And remember again, you got Travis at first saying that he was headed out of the neighborhood and he saw this guy, caught this guy running into this construction site, right? But then he says when he turned around, the guy took off running into the house. So again, it sounds to me like Travis was sitting outside of this construction site watching. And while he was out there watching, he saw somebody in there with a flashlight. Then he saw this guy come out. And whatever Travis did when he saw this guy came out, it spooked the guy. And the guy ran back into the house. That's when Travis left and went and got Daddy. And I think by the time Perez got there, I think both McMichaels were on the scene. Perez might not say that, because I think at this point, everybody is a little part of this. Everybody in the neighborhood, if what I think happened is really what happened, and I'm almost 100% sure it is. I think everybody in the neighborhood is kind of involved. Everybody was complicit in this. Everybody in the neighborhood, all of these neighbors, the guy that was doing the videoing and following behind Arbery and all of that. Okay? So let me continue on. So now we have, to listen to the descriptions, now we have two different black men that we're dealing with. We got a light-skinned, slender-built black man with locks or twists in his hair. And we've got Ahmaud Arbery, because the descriptions just don't fit. Bottom line, they don't fit, okay? And if they saw this guy at night, if it was Ahmaud in the dark and you're looking at a dark-skinned man, unless you're up real close to him, you can't tell whether his arms are covered in tattoos or not, especially if he has on a shirt that has any sleeves in it. And based on the clip of the surveillance that you will see on February the 11th, he did have on a shirt with sleeves. It wasn't long sleeve, but it was sleeves that came down maybe to just above his elbow. So you would not have been able to see both arms covered in tattoos. Okay? But this is the description that McMichaels gave that night, February the 11th. When he called when the police came out. This was the description of the male that he said he saw in the house and that he was trying to walk up on and all of that. Okay? So it looks like we're dealing with two different black men. That's what it looks like. Okay? And I myself, having seen the guy on February the 11th that was in the house at night, to me, just based on the hairstyle and the bandana, it does look like Ahmaud, because February the 23rd, when we see him in the house during the daytime, he has what looks like maybe curls or those new things that they do with that spongy thing that they do with their hair now, that sponge that they roll around on the top of their hair and they get them curls. It looks like he might have had that kind of hairstyle, but he had a bandana around his forehead. Okay? And that's what makes me think the guy from February the 11th is Ahmaud. is because of that hairstyle and that bandana around the forehead. Okay? Now, some interesting stuff is about to come up. So hold on. Let's go back. I got to go back. This is going to take a minute, y'all. I'm telling you now. This is going to take a minute because I got to bring all these pieces together for you. Now, this is some other information that I discovered. And this YouTube video, of course, will also be linked in the description box so that you can watch the whole video. But I'm just going to read some stuff. I'm not going to play anything. I'm just going to read some stuff from this video for you. And this video is talking a little bit about Gregory McMichael's daughter, right? And the title of this video is Greg McMichael would kill disowned daughter over a black man. Okay? Now, this is some stuff that somebody was investigating, pulled up from Gregory McMichael's daughter's Facebook page. Now, that page may be down now. I'm not sure. Because, well, some of this stuff has been scrubbed from it. Hold on. Now, I want to read this to you. Let me slow this down so I can read it. All right. And like I said, this video will be linked in the description box so that you guys can go and look at this whole video. But there's just certain things from this video that I want to bring out in my video. All right. It says, Ahmaud's cousin waxed ironic in his Facebook videos about the irony of Ahmaud being the one with hardworking parents and a dad who worked hard for 20 years or more to provide for his family. Only for his son to end up dead. Now, this is what Ahmaud's cousin posted on his Facebook, okay? His insights into Gregory McMichael are even more telling. Prior to Greg's Facebook account going bye-bye, you know, they took that down, it apparently contained plenty of photos of guns, right? And there's actually, this person actually found a picture on the daughter's, on Gregory McMichael's daughter's Facebook page, where she puts a picture up of the family's dining room table being covered with guns. And she makes the caption, or she says something to the effect of, how are we supposed to eat I think it was New Year's dinner or something like that with a table full of guns. Then she puts up a post about her dad going around killing squirrels in the neighborhood. And she actually put up a picture of this dead squirrel in the neighborhood. Also says this, Ahmaud Cousins also had insight into Gregory McMichael as a dad, allegedly from the things his daughter told a friend. Okay? So this man was gun crazy. These people were gun crazy. They had guns everywhere. Okay? Like I said, there was a post put up by the daughter, a picture put up by Gregory McMichael's daughter of guns, all guns and ammo and all of this all over the dining room table. And she was talking about, well, how are we going to be able to eat, dinner with a table full of guns. Then she talks about her dad going on this squirrel killing campaign, and she makes a point of saying, we live in a residential area, mind you. Then she puts up a picture of a dead squirrel laying on the on like look like maybe patio bricks or whatever. So this is something that Ahmaud's cousin posted on his Facebook. Remember when I made this status? Greg killed Maud over his daughter. Go on her page, look at her bio, then look at her last picture caption. Then also she told her friend, my dad will kill me if I ever date a black man. Also, she runs. So Gregory McMichael's daughter was an avid jogger. She was a jogger. She had pictures up on her Facebook of how beautiful and how peaceful and how serene it was to jog through the neighborhood and to jog across the bridge and all of that. So she was a jogger. She was a runner. She had all kinds of stuff up on her Facebook page about being a runner and about how much peace and happiness she got from running and jogging and all of that. The same routine as Maud. And this was all sent to me. Man, I don't know. They should pick her up for questioning. She took a picture of the body, and the angle she took of it shows she was on the scene. Again, this is what I was sent after a few rumors circulated. Makes me feel different. So there are news reports out there that she had taken a picture of Ahmaud's dead body and put it up on Snapchat or something. And in this video, the girl actually has the picture, but Ahmaud's body has kind of like been whited out. So you don't actually see his body. But like the cousin is saying here, from that angle, it's obvious she was on the scene. So why was this girl taking a picture of this man's body and she don't know him? And we'll get to all of that in a minute because I got some more information on that. But just hold on. Let's see what else I want to tell you out of this video. And like I said, this video will be linked in the description box so that you can go and you can watch the whole video. The YouTuber's name is Plunder. That's the name of the channel, Plunder. Yeah, she has the picture, and in the picture you can see the yellow tape. You see the outline of where the body was. You see the houses and all of that. And everybody's wondering, and I think she took it down or something, but there are news articles about her releasing this picture. And this shows, where on her keychain, she talks about running and being a part of the 5K run and all of that. Now, this is something that somebody else posted about McMichael's daughter. She was my roommate for almost a year and dipped out on the last 2 months of bills and left my home a wreck. I tried to take her to court and her daddy said, I'm a retired private investigator. I know all the judges. You won't win. Then she also told me that her daddy would literally kill her and disown her if she ever brought home a black man. Okay? Now, this coincides with what cousin posted on his Facebook saying that based on something that she had told a friend, her daddy would disown her, kill her, whatever, if they found out she dated a black man. And you know, the friend had already said that Ahmaud was killed because of the daughter. Right? Okay. And like I said, this video also shows pictures of her, you know, talking about how serene and how peaceful and how beautiful it is to be able to jog through the neighborhood and to be able to jog across the bridge, and shows all of these beautiful scenic pictures of the view that she had when she was jogging and all of this. So she was deep into jogging, right? All right. Now, let me see if there's anything else I want to get from this video. No, except for this video will also give you an account from a former neighbor of the McMichaels, where Travis, when he was a preteen, trespassed on these people's property. It was a construction site. They were having a home built, and they had left the dog out. They had no trespassing signs up. Plus, they also had the beware of the dog signs. But Travis went anyway, and the dog bit him. And the father came and wanted to try to show out because the dog had bit him, and they let him know, okay, well, if he hadn't been here trespassing on our property, the dog would not have bit him. And then when they went inside, they went in and found out that they had put a flathead screwdriver through their brand new dishwasher while they were inside. Somebody had put, whether it was Travis or some of the other kids he was with, or whatever the case may be. So this neighbor, this ex-neighbor, just thought it was kind of ironic that Travis would do all of this behind somebody that, quote unquote, was suspected of trespassing, when he had trespassed himself when he was a preteen and had gotten bitten by a dog because of it. Okay? But that's just some stuff that you'll find in this video. And please go look at this video. It'll be linked in the description box. And I'll put a little something beside it to let you know that this is the specific video that I'm talking about. Okay, but now let's go on to another article that's very, very interesting. Very interesting. Now, this is coming from the Sun. This is coming from the U.S. Sun. So it's, of course, thesun.com. And the Sun is a UK publication. Now, I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this particular article or this particular information in any mainstream media news outlets. I haven't seen this. But this is real interesting. So I want y'all to listen. I'm going somewhere. Don't think I'm not going somewhere. I'm going somewhere with this. Okay, this is by Emma Perry, digital U.S. correspondent, May 15th, 2020. They're not monsters. Woman whose brother and dad killed Ahmaud Arbery admits mistakes were made, but claims it was not a lynching. Okay? The sister and daughter of Ahmaud Arbery's murderers has admitted mistakes were made, but claimed the shooting was no lynching in a shocking defense of her family. Lindsey McMichael, 30 years old. Okay, so you're finally getting her name, right? Because her name hasn't been released. Her pictures haven't been released. Now, her name may have been released in conjunction with the picture that she put up of Ahmaud Arbery on her Snapchat. But the girl in the video that I got the information from wouldn't say her name, right? But her name is Lindsey McMichael, and she's 30 years old. Was at home in her pajamas when she heard gunshots and commotion outside her house and ran out to witness the horrific aftermath of Ahmaud's killing at the hands of her brother, Travis, 34, and her dad, Gregory McMichael, 64. Reliving the horror, the harrowing moment, she says she looked Travis in the eye moments after the slaying and insists, I will until the day that I die believe that he had no intention of malice like that. Okay, whatever. She also claims her brother and father are not racist, saying they loved, listen to this. She also claims her brother and father are not racist, claiming they quote unquote loved all her non-white boyfriends like a brother or a son. Now, that's the most important part of this article that I want you to get. It'll be linked in the description box. You can read the whole thing, but this is the part of it that I want you to pay the most attention to. Like all white folks, like I'm not racist because I got black friends. I'm not racist because I date black people. I'm not racist because I have biracial children or grandchildren or whatever the case may be. So this is the logic, and this is the explanation. This is the defense that she's trying to throw out there to make it look like her brother and her father aren't racist, is because they quote unquote loved all her non-white boyfriends. Okay? Do I think that decisions were rash and people were jumping ahead? Yes. But do I think anybody thought today I'm going to kill someone? Absolutely not. That's an absolute lie. Okay, but let's just keep on going. And they have a picture of her here. They have a picture of her. It's a specific part that I'm looking for where she says that she wasn't talking to her brother and her father. Hold on. Yeah, I want y'all to know this. The McMichael father and son were arrested and charged with murder and aggravated assault last week over Ahmaud's death back on February 23rd. Recalling the events of that day, Lindsey, who had moved back in with her parents in Brunswick, Georgia, said she was watching a movie with her mom, Lee, 61, a nurse, when she heard gunshots and a commotion outside, pulling on her running shoes and sprinting to the scene. She said, I was inside. I was in pajamas. It was a Sunday. I was inside relaxing on the couch. I had taken a couple of tests the day before, and I was allowing myself to relax. Then after this all happened, I ran out to see what was going on. I had no idea. There was a firefighter I knew, so I made a beeline to him and asked, are my father and brother okay? And he said, yes. And I said, they're not dead? Now, why would she say that? And I said, they're not dead? Why would she ask if her father and her brother were dead? Why would that be the first thing that she would ask? And he said, no, they're fine. And I said, okay, that's all I need to know, because I had to go back over to the house where my 3-year-old nephew, my brother's child, and my mother were and relay the message. She said her brother Travis's clothes were splattered with blood, so she asked a police officer if she was allowed to bring him some clean clothes so he wouldn't have to go to jail with another person's blood on him. After bringing him some new clothes, she said she passed them to an officer but did not speak to Travis, who is believed to have fired the shot. He was taken into custody before being released. Hold on. She says she doesn't really have a relationship. Now, just listen to this. She says she doesn't really have a relationship with either her dad or her brother, and hasn't really talked to them about the incident since it happened. So she's admitting here that she doesn't have a relationship with her father and her brother. She has just moved back in with her family in Brunswick, Virginia. In Brunswick, Georgia. She done just moved back in. Now get this. Ahmaud's death has prompted nationwide outrage and local protests because he was unarmed and black, while the white men pursuing him had firearms. But when asked if her brother and father were racist, Lindsey answered, absolutely not. I have never dated anyone of the same race, meaning of my race, since I was 19 years old. And my father and my brother have loved every person that I've ever dated like they were their own son and brother. These are people that I have brought home that my sweet mama has cooked for and given everything to. So you know she done put too much on it right there. So right there, you know it's a lie. She put entirely too much on it. Because even if they were white, your daddy and your brother ain't gonna love everybody that you bring home. And your mama ain't gonna cook for everybody that you bring home and give everything to them. So right there, she's just putting a little bit too much on it. Okay? Okay, then it goes on to talk about him the daddy losing his power to make arrests in 2006 for failing to complete firearm training and all of that. So that's what it goes on to talk about. Lindsey declined to comment on details of the case, but said her heart goes out to Ahmaud's mom, Wanda, who she says she thinks about every day, and all his family and loved ones. His poor mama. I'm not a mother, but I couldn't imagine losing my child. I think about her every day and the grief and despair she must be feeling. I can't say I'm sorry enough. Then she talks about how her and her own mom are being threatened and all of this kind of stuff. With death threats and all of that. So that's just what I wanted to bring y'all as far as the daughter is concerned. So we know that she dates outside of her race, right? We know that based on what we are being told, a roommate said if her father ever found out that she dated black men, he would disown her, kill her, whatever, right? We know that she just, based on what she says here, she just moved back home to Brunswick, Georgia with her family, right? Well, we got the roommate that said she was living with her and she left her with still 2 months of bills and left her house in a wreck. And when she was talking about taking her to court, Daddy came up and said, okay, well, you know, I work for I'm a private investigator. I know all the judges and you won't win. And we see her putting this spin on it like most white folks do. I can't be racist. They can't be racist because they date white people, or because I date black people, or because I got a black friend, or because I got black people in my family, or whatever the case may be. You know what they throw out there all the time to try to use as excuses and reasons why they can't be racist. And like I said, she's putting just a little bit too much on it with all of this. Every non-white boyfriend that she's brought home since she was 19, okay? Since she was 19, every non-white boyfriend she's brought home, her daddy and her brother and the whole family just loved them and just treated them so good, and mama just cooked for everybody and all of that. So she was really, really trying to spin it, but it ain't working. Okay? And like I said, why, when she goes out and she hears all these gunshots and all this kinds of stuff, why is the first thing she asks is her daddy and her brother dead? Why would that be the first thing that comes to her mind to ask when she hears all of this? Are my brother and my dad okay? Are they dead? Are they alive? Right? And then she admits that she doesn't really have a relationship with either her dad or her brother. And she has not talked to them since all of this happened. Okay? Now, keep that in mind, because like I said, I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere. It's taking me a minute to get there, but I'm going somewhere. Now, I got this piece of information, this article here out of fox5atlanta.com. This is real interesting too. GBI identifies author of unsigned note found at the Ahmaud Arbery crime scene. You know how they do with these crime scenes. They make like a little memorial out of it, and people can go and put flowers and teddy bears and notes and cards and all of this kind of stuff. Now, this was published 6 days ago, which would have been May 14th. And note left at Arbery killing scene. And it's got the note, and it's got what it says. And this is what it reads. Ahmaud, I'm so sorry. I should have stopped them. I am so sorry. That's what the card says. And when you go to this article, you can see the card up close, and you can actually read the words itself. You can see the handwriting and all of that. But that's what it says. Ahmaud Dash. I am so sorry. I should have stopped them. I am so sorry. Okay? Brunswick, GA. A handwritten note apologizing for the deadly shooting of a jogger was found at the scene where Ahmaud Arbery died. People in the Brunswick community want to know who wrote the mysterious note that is short in length but long on remorse. The handwritten note, discovered by Jackson Station WJXT, simply reads, Ahmaud, I am so sorry. I should have stopped them. I am so sorry. No name is signed on the note. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation would not comment on whether they are trying to find the person who wrote it. Agents with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation told Fox 5 that they have identified the individual who wrote the note. They said the author is not connected to the Ahmaud Arbery murder investigation in any way. You hear that bullshit, right? You hear that bullshit. This person was expressing their condolences for Arbery's death. We've received numerous tips and inquiries related to this and wanted to be sure to update the public. I don't believe that. I believe the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, is saying this to protect somebody, because there's no way that somebody that's totally not connected to this, somebody that totally does not know Ahmaud, does not know anything about this, does not have any kind of personal connection with this whatsoever, there's no way that they would have wrote that type of note. They would not have wrote that type of note expressing personal responsibility. This person is almost saying, I'm personally responsible because I did not stop them. So somebody who's just expressing their condolences, their sympathy for the family, their heartfelt feelings about this man dying the way he did, they would not write that kind of note. You understand what I'm saying? And they would not address it to him personally. They may address it to the Arbery family. They may say, they may address it to the community. They may address it to his mother, to the mother and father of Ahmaud Arbery or something like that. But this was very personal. These were very personal words. So this was not coming from somebody that don't know what's going on. This is not coming from somebody that did not know Ahmaud Arbery. This is coming from somebody that feels really, 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 really bad because they knew what was going to happen and they didn't do anything to try to stop it. And I honestly believe that this is coming from Gregory McMichael's daughter. I honestly believe that's who wrote this note. Now, she might have didn't lay it there. She might have didn't place it there. She may have had somebody else place it there for her. I don't know. But I honestly believe that that's who wrote this note. And I honestly believe, right along with the cousin, that the reason why Ahmaud Arbery is dead is because this brother and father found out that this young woman was seeing Arbery. Or she was seeing somebody that they thought was Arbery. I believe that's the reason why whoever this person was, because you got to remember, based on the descriptions, we might be talking about two entirely different men. At this point, I don't think so. Why? And why do I say that? Because at night, a camera, a surveillance camera taking pictures and doing surveillance is going to look totally different at night than it does in the daytime. This is what I believe was happening. This is what I believe happened. I believe Arbery, I believe Arbery was meeting this girl, was meeting this Lindsey McMichael. I believe he was meeting her at night at that house. I believe he was meeting her at night at that house. And I don't know whether it was Larry English, the homeowner, or whether it was this Diego Perez guy, the neighbor who English was texting and telling him, keep a check on it and all of that. I don't know which one of them saw what was going on and saw that these two were meeting up there or whatever the case may be, because there is, and you will see this when you go back through the videos in the description box, you will see a couple, a guy and a girl, going into this house, into this construction site. So I don't know whether it was Larry English or whether it was this Diego Perez guy. But I believe somebody saw these two together and informed the McMichaels of what was going on. And I think that's the reason why Travis was there the night of February the 11th, parked in a truck across the street, is because he was going to catch what was going on. He was going to catch him in the act. And I don't know whether he actually caught him, whether he actually saw the sister, or what the case may be. I don't know. But he definitely saw Arbery coming out of the house. I particularly believe that he saw the sister. I think he saw the sister. And I think that's the reason why he left the scene and went back and got his dad, and dad came with the gun. And that's the and I think all of this calling 911, all of this talking about, because you have to remember, they can see this guy, this black guy that's coming to the site at night, the construction site. They can see him back as far as in October of last year. So this is something that the McMichaels knew was going on. They were being told about it. They were just trying to catch it. I think that's the reason why they told the lie about the gun being stolen out the car. I think that's the reason why they tried to set up this whole scenario about burglaries and break-ins and all of this kind of stuff in the neighborhood. I think that's the reason why they did all of that, was to lay the groundwork, because they knew when they caught this dude, they were going to kill him. They knew that. I believe the police were in on this. I believe the guy that was doing the videotaping, I know he was in on this. I believe Perez was in on this. I don't know whether Perez knew that they planned on killing the guy or not, but I think he was a part of it, as far as I think he was the one that let them know that they were meeting at this construction site at night. I think Perez is the one that let them know that. And I think the Georgia Bureau of Investigation is protecting her. Because again, why would she come out of the house? She hear gunshots. She hear this commotion. Okay, she's already said that her dad goes around the neighborhood shooting squirrels and all of this kind of stuff. These people are gun fanatics. So hearing gunshots shouldn't be such a big major thing for her. So why would she run out of the house and the first thing that she wants to ask is my dad and my brother dead? And then all of a sudden, you find this note with this person, like I said, that's almost claiming personal responsibility for not stopping this murder. And talking about how sorry they are. Now, remember, she's a jogger. He was supposed to be a jogger. Remember, all the times that this person went in this house, there was never any incident of him ever touching anything or taking anything. And like I said, the very first time you see him in the house in the daytime is the day that he was murdered. And if you pay attention, he goes in the house and he's looking around like he's looking for somebody. He walks in the house and he's looking around in the house. This is the clip of him on the day he was murdered, February the 23rd, walking in the house, and he's walking around. He's looking like he's looking for somebody. So my thing is, was she told to send him a message to meet her at that house that day? Was she told to send Ahmaud a message to send her to meet her at that house that day instead of at night that day? That's my question. Was she told to get a message to him to meet her there during the day instead of at night like normal? You understand what I'm saying? Or did somebody else discover how they were communicating with each other or whatever, and they sent the message, to meet her there during the daytime instead of at night? You understand what I'm saying? And the neighbor that did the 911 call, was that neighbor told, okay, you do this 911 call, you let us know when he starts running down the street or whatever, you make sure to call in to 911 so that we can have that to cover our tracks, so that we can have that to cover our bases. Because there's absolutely no way this William Roddy Bryan man, there's absolutely no way he just all of a sudden, saw these people chasing this man and decided, oh, well, I'm going to jump in my truck and I'm getting ready to be a part of this. I'm going to film this whole thing as it goes down. And if you look at the video of the shooting, this Roddy man that's doing the filming is just all over the road. He's following Ahmaud. It's like he's making sure, if you try to come this way, I'm going to stop you. If you try to go around this way, I'm going to stop you. He was bringing up the rear to make sure that Ahmaud didn't get away if he turned around to run back the way he was coming. Because he knew that they were parked at the end of the street waiting on him. And if you'll also notice, they want to try to throw out this thing about self-defense and about Ahmaud charged Travis with the shotgun and all of that. That's a blatant lie. If you'll look, Ahmaud is just jogging down the street. Okay, all of a sudden, this white truck with this man standing at the driver's door, already outside the truck, comes into view. Ahmaud keeps jogging. And then you see that moment. You see that moment when I think he realized, hold up, this dude got a gun. I'm in trouble. And all of a sudden, he makes that turn to go around the back of the truck, to go on the other side of the truck to avoid Travis, who's standing there with the shotgun. By the time he gets around the corner of the front of the truck, Travis is meeting him at the front of the truck, and you hear that first shot. So yes, that's what I believe happened. I believe that with all my heart. I believe she was meeting him. I don't know whether they met while they were jogging. I don't know whether they had mutual friends and they met that way. I don't know how they met. I don't know how long they had known each other. I don't know if they met each other some other time, some other place. You understand what I'm saying? While she wasn't living with her parents, because it says that she had just moved back in to Brunswick, Georgia with her parents. I don't know how they met, but I believe that's what was going on. They were meeting each other at this construction site at night. They were spotted on this surveillance camera. I believe it was either the homeowner, which I doubt, or it was this Perez guy that informed the McMichaels, Gregory and Travis McMichael, of what was going on, that she was meeting this guy at this construction site at night. I think they had been trying to catch him and couldn't catch him. So they worked up this whole plan to act like that there were burglaries and all of this kind of stuff and break-ins going on in the neighborhood. And I think that whole report about a gun being stolen out of his truck, I think all of that was fake. That's the reason why they couldn't pull up any prints on anybody. That whole thing was fake. And I think the first time they actually saw something, the first time they actually caught something going on on that construction site, was the night of February the 11th. And that's when Travis decided, okay, well we're going to set this thing up. We're going to do this 911 call. And then the next time he's a dead duck. And I think that's when either they told her to do it, or they found a way to get a message to Ahmaud to tell him to meet her at the construction site that day instead of at night. And I think that's the reason why she's got so much remorse. I think that's the reason why she's putting this extra spin on it, that, and letting it be known. She's putting it out there and letting it be known that she has dated outside of her race ever since she was 19 years old. Because she knows at some point what she told that friend is going to get out in the public. That's the reason why she's putting such a heavy spin on it, that her brother and her dad and her mom and all of them just loved every non-white boyfriend that she had. But that's what I believe happened in this case. And that's what, and just based on the evidence that I'm seeing right now, why are you going to keep returning to a construction site at night? You're not taking anything. You understand what I'm saying? You're not working there. You're not taking anything. Why are you going to keep returning to this same spot at night? And the only time we see you there in the daytime is the day that you're actually murdered. And like I said, no, there's nothing fantastic. There's nothing unusual about people leaving notes and leaving cards and of condolences and all of this kind of stuff at these kind of memorials, at the murder sites of victims and all of that. But for somebody to leave something this personal, to the point where they are actually taking personal responsibility for not having stopped the murder. That's not just somebody offering their condolences. That's not just some strange person that's not connected any kind of way, just wanting to say, I'm sorry. No. This is somebody saying, I'm sorry because I didn't stop this. I'm sorry because I let this happen. I'm sorry because I should have done something to stop this. And the only person that could be saying that is somebody that has some personal knowledge of something. Somebody that knew that there was a possibility that this whole thing was being planned out. And somebody who may have had personal knowledge of that plan. So I know, y'all, it took me a long time to get to this. I know it took me a long time to get it all laid out, but I had to lay the foundation. I had to lay the groundwork so that all of these pieces could come together and all of these pieces could make sense. Because there is absolutely no way, and you heard the woman on Court TV yourself just say it in the clip, there's absolutely no, if there's only one thing that we take away from this, we can take away from this that this was planned. This was not a spur of the moment type thing. This was not a heat of the moment type thing. This was planned. And all of these recalls, all of these fake reports about stuff being stolen, all of this putting it out there that there were burglaries and break-ins and all of this kind of stuff, all of these 911 calls, all of that was a part of the setup. And when they finally saw him, you understand what I'm saying? After they set him up to go to that house that day, that was a setup for him to go to that house that day. Like I said, why do you go to a house at night all the time and then just all of a sudden out of clear blue sky for no apparent reason, you show up there in the daylight during the daytime? That's because he was told to meet her there that day. And they were waiting on him. They were waiting to see. That's the reason why you got the 911 caller talking about, and he running now. He running down the street. And I guarantee you, this 911 caller was in the vicinity or close to Travis and Gregory McMichael when he made that telephone call. Because if you listen to that 911 call, somebody is telling him to say that this guy has been caught on camera at night a bunch of times. So this whole thing was a setup. And you got neighbors and all of that were a part of this. And I do believe it was all because they found out that Lindsey McMichael was meeting Ahmaud Arbery or some black man in that house. And I believe it was Ahmaud Arbery. So y'all make sure that y'all get in this description box. Make sure that you listen to these news clips. Make sure that you read these articles and do some digging for yourself. But that's the only way that any of this makes sense. That's the only way it makes sense. That's the only way, just based on what the McMichaels have said, just based on what they put out there, just based on all of these lies about break-ins and burglaries and all of this kind of stuff, just based on all of that, just based on what Travis himself said during the 911 call that night, February the 11th. You know, first I called him, I'm leaving the neighborhood, and I caught him running in the house. And then when I turned around, he took off running in the house. Okay, so now either, like I said, either he was running in the house when you first seen him or he wasn't. Sounds to me like when he noticed you and when he spotted you, and maybe when you turned around to get after him, that's when he ran back into the house. But like I said, you got to listen to all of this stuff. You got to listen to these different news clips, and you got to read these articles and put this stuff together. And when you put it together, this is the only conclusion that you can come to. The cousin has already come to this conclusion, that Ahmaud is dead now because of McMichael's daughter. So y'all please like this video. Please share this video. Share your share your thoughts and all of this in the comments. Let's have a discussion about this. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that bell notification so you can be notified when we upload. And yeah, y'all, we got to keep our eyes and our ears open. But I do believe that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation knows that she's the one that wrote that note, and I believe that they're protecting her. But those are my thoughts on this Ahmaud Arbery case. We'll see if this pans out. Like I said, y'all leave your comments down in the comment box. Let's talk about this, and yeah, that's it for now. Y'all have a good one.